Hey everybody, it's Seth. We recorded these episodes in advance before the pandemic really kept everybody from going out because of social distancing. So you're going to hear us talk about things in this episode that frankly aren't happening, and that even if they were happening, you probably shouldn't go to anyway because we want to flatten the curve. So we decided to put the episode out really at this point just to entertain you so that you can pretend like things are normal for a few moments and hopefully enjoy the show.
Check, 1, 2, 3.
The D.
Brief.
This is the D brief.
Your guide to Detroit.
Your guide to Detroit's
arts and entertainment scene.
This is the D
Brief.
Hello and welcome to the podcast for and about Detroit artists and entertainers. I am Seth Ressler.
I'm Becky Scarcello.
And on today's show, we're going to talk about how you can support local businesses on National All Things Detroit Day. They actually made it a national day.
I know, isn't that great?
I don't even know how you get that done. Joining us again for the show is Ping Ho. She is the owner of the Royce and Marrow. She's also a partner in Mink. Ping, good to see you again.
Yeah.
Great to be here.
Great. So many good topics. I want to ask a food-related question. What's a dish that you can get at one of your establishments that you think you can't find anywhere else that people could come in for? Unique.
It's a little hard to say, but it's pork skin popcorn.
Pork skin popcorn.
I've had that at Marrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a little, some sweet bits too. Yeah. I think it's unique.
So wait, there's actually popped corn in it and pork skin? Those are both two of the ingredients?
It's popcorn pork skin. So I can't even say it. It's a take on popcorn.
But it's not popcorn.
But it's not popcorn.
No,
it's pork skin.
Pork skin.
Oh.
But it tastes like a little crunchy popcorn snack.
Oh, that's
It is
awesome.
very good.
It's like cracklings, but,
Nice.
a little fancier.
All right, Becky, what do we got for trivia today?
Okay, so we're talking about the Nain Rouge, the little red dwarf, who's the legendary devilish creature of Detroit, whose appearance is said to foretell bad things are going to happen. So each spring, Detroit hosts a community festival, a costume parade, the Marche de Nain Rouge. It's our version of kind of Mardi Gras-ish carnival. The intention is to make sure the Nain knows he isn't welcome here for the next year. So it takes place this Sunday, March 22nd in Midtown. So as I said, the Nain Rouge is said to be the bearer of bad things to come. So when do you think was the most recent documented sighting of the Nain Rouge?
Oh, when the stock market crashed the other day.
Not that recent, but was it 1794? Was it 1976? 1999 or 2016?
So a bad thing must have happened in Detroit in one of these years, and everybody blamed it on the Nain Rouge. So walk us through those years
1794.
again. I wasn't around back then.
I mean, that's silly. So
Right.
let's just eliminate that. 1976.
That is the year I was born, but I was not born in Detroit, so it can't be that.
Oh, yeah, because that would be a good
'Cause
fit. Yeah. 1999 and 2016.
You think they were blaming Y2K on the Nain Rouge? What, I don't know. When do you think the last time the Nain Rouge was spotted? Did anything bad happen in 2016? You were here.
Not that I remember. Nothing bad. Maybe
Nothing
I'll
major.
say 76.
76?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll go.
Very good.
What bad happened in 76?
Okay, so it was two DTE workers reported this, that they saw what they thought was a child climbing a utility pole.
I've heard this story.
Yes, and it was right before, it was like the night before a particularly bad snowstorm that kind of like paralyzed everything in the city. It was bad.
Wow, and they're blaming that on the Nain Rouge.
Yeah, that was the last time.
This is good.
So,
Anytime anything goes wrong, I'm just going to blame it on
well,
him.
they were pretty big. Like, here's a couple other things. 1763, the Battle of Bloody Run, apparently he foretold, and the terrible fire of 1805.
Wow.
So there you go.
I've never done anything that bad. Ping, Becky, Sunday, April 5th is All Things Detroit Day. This is a day that's been going on for a number of years. There are tons of local businesses that are going to be in sheds 3, 4, and 5 of Eastern Market. So if you want to support local businesses, what you can do is you can head over to Eastern Market, do some shopping locally.
Yeah. There's lots packed in there.
Yeah, it's a good reason to get out. We actually, producer Ryan we have a producer,
Yes.
Ryan, now.
Producer Ryan. Yes.
Went out and talked to Jennifer Crawford. She's the founder, and had a conversation with her and brought some bits back for us. One of the things that he asked Jennifer, look, is why it's so important in the age of Amazon, where we can all just go online and click a button, to have face-to-face interactions with the people that, we're doing our shopping from. Here's what she said.
When people come to All Things Detroit, I am there at the door in Shed 3, and people can come and talk to me and ask questions, and we talk about it. They'll say that they have a business, because really, honestly, in business, it's about building relationships. And when you're trying to build relationships, people build online relationships all the time, but you lose that one-on-one connection. I feel like if I'm asking you about your business and you say, oh, I love my business, it's great. But if I meet you and I see that passion, I see that drive in your eyes, then I feel that's so much more important than, because then you build those long-term relationships and they're continuing to shop, versus me purchasing a t-shirt online, never meeting the owner, and that's the only time I'm going to purchase for them.
Ping, I imagine that that's especially true in your business, in the restaurant business, having relationships with the people who are providing the ingredients. I mean, can you talk a little bit about that and some of the relationships with some of your suppliers?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Marrow, we partner with a number of farms. And so we work closely with farmers who have, cattle, cows, pigs, and we actually meet them. They deliver the products. And I think one of the most memorable moments for me in the past year at Marrow was meeting the farmer at Old Wolf Farms. And so he usually rears dairy cows. So the life of a dairy cow is, making milk, producing milk for like 6 to 9 years. And then the cow is just killed, right? When she's done, right? And we worked with Eric from Old Wolf Farms to actually bring in one of his dairy cows for the first time earlier last year. And just the look on his face where he saw my butcher then butchering down he had aged the meat for 28 days. And it was a demonstration of and tasting of the meat.
Oh,
so
wow.
we call it antique beef. So it's an old cow. And so to be able to repurpose and use the animal after having it has, served a life of producing milk, I think that's very, it's very valuable. It's part of sustainability. You really don't waste any bit of the animal.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think, people talk about the trendiness of farm to table or this kind of, but really it's super old fashioned. I mean, that's how things used to be and how they should be and how many cultures do, where they don't waste things.
But it's hard to do when everything's online. And,
exactly.
I mean, look, I had this experience last year when I just landscaped my yard, and the ability to go out and, there are things you can buy at Home Depot or whatever, but when I could go to a nursery and talk to somebody who knew Michigan and knew the climate and knew what was here and, could tell me, oh, this will grow there or that'll grow there. I mean, just having that relationship with whoever it is that you're buying from, I think is really important.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, Ryan asked Jennifer why this is so important for her, doing this All Things Detroit Day. Here's what she said.
Nobody knows anything about Detroit like a person who was born and raised here. You can know all history and facts about Detroit, but when you really, really live here and you were born and raised and you've seen it, the rise, you've seen the fall, you've been here through everything, then you really, really know about Detroit. So for me, it's important as a Black woman. This is my city and I love it. And I feel that it was meant for me to be doing what I'm doing.
That's great. We need more people like her, and that's the embodiment of Detroiters.
Yeah,
really.
say that with 2 transplants right here. But there is that attitude. I mean,
we need people that identify in the way, not that you had to grow up here, but that is a thing, like it is, and you can fit into the community and help it grow, but that there is that spirit there.
That's definitely true. I mean, you found that since you've moved here. I mean, you're...
Absolutely. So I think one of the things I really love about Detroit is just having, as a transplant, right, moving from New York and not even being a New York transplant, but not being a U.S. citizen. So I'm from Singapore, even though I've been in the States for decades, still a Singaporean citizen, but finding a lot of acceptance here, being able to start my businesses in collaboration with Detroiters, with locals.
Yeah.
have been, it's very notable. So I've always found Detroit to be a very welcoming city, regardless of background. But yeah, I mean,
well, and clearly it's welcoming too because you respected that, and you're.
You do have to respect that.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I remember learning early on. And really it was Aaron Foley's book, How to Live in Detroit Without Being a Jackass, which I found very helpful.
Yeah. No,
but there was a quote in there I'll never forget where he says, look, Detroit is not a blank slate.
Right. We've been here all
and
along.
even though you can do a lot of things like grow a company from the ground floor, you also have to sort of respect and embrace the stuff that's already here and that's been here forever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, one of the other things that Ryan talked to Jennifer Crawford about was what she wants people outside of the city of Detroit to know about this city.
This is why so many people come here to start businesses, because Detroit is great. They don't look at the crime and everything when they're coming here to start businesses. But for me, I feel like I want people to pay a lot more attention to the neighborhoods. There's a lot more history than just the train station. A lot of people don't know that there's an actual airport in Detroit, and there's just amazing things that have happened and started here. So for me to be a part of, making a change or promoting small businesses in Detroit, there's businesses that have been here for 40 and 50 years and we don't hear about them. So I feel like it's my job to tell their story.
So first of all, I did not know that there was an airport here.
You didn't?
No, where's the airport?
City airport?
Oh, I've seen signs for it. I've never actually been to it.
Yeah, not so active.
But you started a business here. Were you deterred by things like the crime rate, or what were the things that you saw that said, I'm going to start a business here?
So moving from New York, I think we are all, those of us who have lived in New York are not as deterred by crime rates, right? If I moved from Singapore, maybe, but no.
Right.
I think the biggest challenge for me still in Detroit is density. So we still lack enough people who live in Detroit. We get a lot more people who visit from the suburbs on a weekend, right? But during the weekday and the moment, say, for example, if the weather turns, small businesses see an impact, right? So I would love to see more neighborhoods, as Jennifer said, where development isn't and traffic don't just happen in downtown, for example, or midtown. It's about neighborhoods like the West Village, the Villages, Corktown.
Though I got to tell you, I was just in Corktown and the condos going up there.
I know, because the train station.
It's crazy.
That's true. So, or, other like Boston and North End. I mean, those are the neighborhood, residential neighborhoods that need more amenities, just like the Villages. So I think Detroit will become more of a so-called rail city when there's more population living in the neighborhoods.
And just even things that you don't think of right off the bat. Like if you have a downtown restaurant and people maybe can't afford to live there, so they're driving in to, say, be a server or something, and then they got to pay $10 a day to park. And, it's all connected. So if you can have the density in the neighborhoods where people can live and work and walk to
public
work.
transport.
And, all that stuff.
All right, the last thing that Ryan asked Jennifer was how local businesses that want to get involved in all things Detroit can do it. Here's what she said.
If you want to be involved with all things Detroit, you can go to askjennifer.com and we have an application process. Once you submit your application, we are a jured event. It's a process. We look at your photos, your website. We just want to make sure that you have the branding and everything together. But if you don't, if your business is just starting out, we help you and guide you through it every step of the way. We don't want to leave anybody out.
All Things Detroit Day is happening Sunday, April 5th. Head over to Eastern Market. It's sheds 3, 4, and 5. Go check it out. Want to let you know about an artist opportunity. The Front Porch Festival is now accepting music submissions. We were at this last year. This is great. These bands just play on people's front porches all over Ferndale, and you can just walk from house to house to house listening to bands. It's a lot of fun. If you want to be one of those bands or one of those artists performing on a front porch, all you have to do is go to thefrontporchmi.com. Becky, you got an event recommendation for us?
Yeah, so the musical Rock of Ages is performing at the Downriver Actors Guild, which is in Wyandotte. They've got performances this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's an 80s Hollywood rock musical. I saw it at the Fisher one year. So it features all these 80s hits from like hair bands and rock bands like Journey and Whitesnake and stuff like that.
What is your musical style of choice over there?
I like oldies, right? Which I guess I classify them as like Billy Joel, Paul Simon,
Yep.
right? The classics. Yeah.
All right, there you go. Are you a Motown fan?
I'm a Motown fan too. Yes.
Yeah, but you're not an 80s headbanger.
Not no.
I hate to admit,
not Blink 182.
Not Blink 182
No,
either.
no.
Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't normally like listen to this on a routine basis, but I could get down with it.
I could get down with this.
And know all the words. Totally.
For sure. Bing, anything you want to recommend?
Yeah, so I always forget how great the DIA is when I get busy, but it is really, such a fabulous institution. And I think the film theater too is the Detroit Film Theater. Yeah, that's what it's called. Always has cool, art housey movies on weekends to go to.
I was just there for the first time. They were doing something great. This was leading into the Oscars. They were playing all the short films that were nominated, both animated, and it was fantastic.
Such a fun day. Yeah.
And it was packed. Like, I mean, it was
they
standing
sell
room
out.
only. Yeah.
And I think they have like 8 showings of it. And they'll sell
it was
out.
great.
Yeah.
That's an excellent choice. I want to make a recommendation as well. The Secret Society of Twisted Storytellers. This is, again, part of that storytelling world that we're all big fans of. They do this once a month over at the Charles H. Wright Museum. Satori Shakur hosts this, and there's a different theme each time, and she's got different speakers. The theme for this one is Black Men Count. So go check it out. That's happening on March 20th. I heard a Satori Shakur. We got to get her back on because she's got an interesting history.
She has the coolest name as well.
She apparently was part of George Clinton's act at one point, is what I heard.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I gotta
that.
do some homework on this.
Okay.
But we'll find out. So anyway, March 20th at the Charles H. Wright, the Secret Society of Twisted Storytellers. Ping Ho is the owner of the Royce and Marrow. She is also a partner in Mink. Thank you so much for joining us again today. We'll have you back again tomorrow for one last day. This has been fun.
It's been a great week. Learned a lot.
It's been great. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
Look, we have a playlist, because we end every episode here on the podcast with a song. If you want to hear all the different music that we play, you can actually go to thedmix.com and you'll pull up our Spotify playlist.
Yeah, and I update it every week with the songs we play, and there's also comedy bits dispersed in there too.
Cool. What are we closing out with today?
This is Dark Sky. The band is called Pink Sky. So it's a husband and wife instrumental electronic duo, and they're also visual artists. So born in Metro Detroit, they now reside in Grand Rapids, but they were set to go to South by Southwest as part of the Michigan contingent. And as we all know, that got canceled. So I wanted to give them a shout out and play some of their music. So this song kind of is a little bit of an uneasy. It's like trying to relax and enjoy yourself while still being aware that the world is kind of falling apart.
Yeah, I'm not good at that.
So it's called Dark Sky.
Until tomorrow, Detroit's moving.
Keep up.
The Debrief.
Your guide to Detroit's arts and entertainment scene.